Hello and welcome back. I'm going to start a little series of the cleaning out the craft room. So this is a second video I'm doing of things that I've just had as semi-finished, pretty well finished projects in my craft room, and this is one that my friend Vicki and she had just bought at a yard sale from like a demonstrator yard sale from Stampin' Up, this huge stack of paper, and it was like, we got to do something with this. So this was, I believe it was called like the Season of Style or something to that effect. It was a very old discontinued DSP. And it was like, oh, let's do something. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Like, we can make these, but what are you going to do with them? So we went to our library because, they're usually looking for volunteers to do stuff. And we had put these together and we were like, if you want, we'll do a class. So her and I had volunteered to do it at 2 different locations in our area. And the first one we did was a dismal failure. No one showed up. I think it had something to do with the shortness of the date, because one of the things that we wound up finding out was that these libraries have calendars that are like months and months and months out. So we were there and we only gave them like about 6 weeks notice, and really didn't have a lot of dates to pick from and such. And then the second location, we had volunteered and they said that the person was on maternity leave. It was the whole thing. So that one did have people show up, but I personally wasn't there because of my business with my husband. I was just it was too crazy at the time of the year when they wanted to do it. So the idea behind these tags were that we were going to teach a class, but it had to be simple. People had to be able to create these things in basically the 2-hour window that we had. We realized we were going to have a lot of people with no stamping type of experience. So we wanted them to be something nice that they could use, but not having to be, we didn't want to not be able to allow kids to come if they wanted to bring their kids. So we needed it to go through a wide range of skill sets, ages, but still be something desirable. I thought they came out really nice. This was something that we found similar off of, I think it was like Pinterest. Honestly, I don't even remember how much of what they did that we kind of copied. So having said that, what we did was we picked 6 things out of our either dies or punches that was going to be the iconic piece. And then we just kind of put it together. We did some random cutting of the paper to give us the random mix. You can see some of them, 3 of them don't even have the paper, because we did want them to have the stamping experience. So briefly, this was a stamp set, a discontinued one from Stampin' Up. I think it was like Holly Jolly or something it was called. These were so simple. You just cut the squares, you cut a thin strip, you made a bow, and you called it a day. Couldn't get any more simple than that. This was, I believe, a die that I may have had. I'm thinking this Sensational stamp and die set. This was from like a bird builder punch. Just put a little bow in there, a twine, a little thing of a saying, called it a day. Same thing here. I believe this may have been a die that I had, and just made the poinsettia, or I'm sorry, the holly cluster. We tried to keep our dimensions very, not too small. We didn't want them to be too fiddly, that people wouldn't be able to kind of manage it. I don't want them to have to use tweezers and stuff, because I didn't think a lot of these people were going to show up with anything more than glue. Then if they even brought the glue, we were going to be lucky. This was the bird builder. And I'll be honest, we did do most of the prep work, meaning that we punched and we die cut before we got there. We brought the supplies with us so they could see what it was. And that was also in case, they made some mistakes. We could do more of whatever they needed. But like I said, I wasn't there. My sister was one of the participants. A few of my friends were participants, so I do still have feedback from it. We showed them, how to color in the eye by using permanent marker. So we were trying to teach them some basic stuff But if they did have some skill, we didn't want them to not feel like they didn't have something nice to leave with. This was the gingerbread stamp and die. It was like a Candy Cane Lane suite or something they called it. It was several years back. I want to say like maybe 2018-ish kind of time period for them. And then this was a punch, I believe, from Stampin' Up as well. And this was a stamp that was again from this time period where this Holly Jolly Candy Cane Lane was from. And some of them may have been stamps. This may not have been a Stampin' Up, but I think it was. And then I just used some regular ribbons in my stash. This was just like a red grosgrain I bought, I think a big bulk of off of Amazon, and I called it a day. So I thought it was a nice project. Ways to use up some scraps if you needed to. Cute project if you're looking for things to do with the kids. So I hope it gives you some inspiration. Again, I'm looking to just clean out my craft room. These have been in my craft room for a while. I kept them on the idea that we may want to do the class. We had ideas to do the class, but do it, you know, with obviously more adequate timing of it. So I had kept these to use as samples for that class, and here we sit. 2023 is starting and they're still here. So if you get any inspiration out of this, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Any inspiration, comments, anything, please. Love to hear about it. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.